Jordan Deva is an illustrator, or Deva, an illustrator for the Crescendos, and he's an artist, animator, and designer. Please welcome him.
Hello, okay. So, yes, my name is Jordan Deva. I'm the illustrator for Crescendos. This is first and foremost a story, but right now it's an in-process graphic novel. So the idea came up with by my friend, Michael Carey. He's been writing it, and it's about these two brothers, Day and Johnny, in the middle, and their band, Tim and Magnum. And these characters are on a journey looking for Johnny and Day's sister. Her name is Liz, and she's a scientist. This is her here. So she's also a wanted criminal. So this organization on the your right is a military group known as the Conservatory, and they're ruthlessly hunting Liz and her two brothers, Johnny and Day. Along the way, Johnny and Day and their band end up running into a lot of different characters, including, but not limited to, Box and Beat, sometimes known as Beatbox. And these are sort of two miscreants in the underground, and they end up getting Johnny and Day into a lot of trouble very repeatedly. The catch for this is it all takes place in outer space. So this is in, I know, it's a really wacky story, right? So this is in multiple planets over 2 star systems in a civilization that was abandoned by aliens and then occupied by humans about 100 years before the story. And everything is run off of sound using these little stone-like objects called runes. Liz has been hoarding these runes, and this is what's gotten her into trouble. She's using them for scientific study. So when these runes get combined with the playing of specific musical instruments, we end up with some really interesting things happening. And from a human perspective, it looks almost like magic. So, it was this alien technology, and they found it, and then they start playing a piano next to it, and next thing you know, there's weird things flying around in the air and everything. And so the instruments end up being able to transform, and we end up with epic musical instrument battles in space, which is like every teenage boy's wet dream. So, so you can start to see like the Conservatory is this classical music. Everyone's trained in violins and things like that, and they're having these battles with a rock band. So Mike called me. This is an old friend of mine, and he's the writer. He called me years ago, and he said, "Jordan, I've got this idea, music battles in space." And I said, "Yes, I'm drawing that." And we talked for a while and got really excited, and then I got off the phone and promptly did nothing. So procrastination is something we've all, I think, experienced at one point or another. So I spent a couple of years doing little bits here and there, and then long gaps of time doing mostly very little. And then at some point, we had sort of a moment where we discovered Kickstarter, and inspiration struck. Kickstarter is an online platform used for crowdsourcing. So this is like for any project that you're up to. So we realized we could use this to bring in money and allow me to work on it full time. So things didn't pick up right at once, but when we declared a date for the Kickstarter, it like kicked me into hyperdrive. So I ended up with a lot to do in a very short period of time between setting up a website, creating a trailer, putting all of the art and creating the art and getting everything up on the Kickstarter webpage. And then once we launched it, I sent out a few Facebook posts and then just sort of laid back and expected everything to just magically kind of work out, to people just show up and give me money, right? That's how it works. So apparently it actually does work this way if you want to make potato salad. This was a project that was launched right before mine. A man in Ohio just said, "I want to make a bowl of potato salad," and actually got over $50,000 pledged to his project. So you can imagine this was a little disheartening for me, creating a graphic novel and being shown up by potato salad. So I ended up with a lot of, not a lot of momentum and really struggling to have it work. And trying a lot of different things, and things would, have something happen, but we'd never have any, momentum. It was just kind of proportionate to the amount of work we did, which, makes sense. So then I got frustrated by this question: if it's so awesome, why aren't people pledging money? And I'd had friends and people I know really let me know how excited they were about this and how cool they thought it was. And so it seemed like there was interest. So something did work. We raised over $6,700. That's a significant amount of money. And I think what did work is we reached people who knew me and who knew Mike and who trusted us and knew my art, and we had buy-in there. So we reached people that were in our circle. But something wasn't working. We didn't reach our goal. We weren't reaching people like you all, people who I'd never met, people who weren't familiar with either of us. So there was some disconnect that had people not quite want to take the risk of pledging money to this project that they just heard about. And it was only after the project that I looked back and realized it was the difference between being impressed with this guy or being inspired, as when you stand at the bottom of a waterfall, being touched or moved by something bigger than you. And so we weren't really reaching people in that way. They were impressed by the artwork. So you probably can't read this, but it says, humanity was destined to expand. So this is what's next for us. This is the very first page of the graphic novel. And so for us, it's really about continuing to expand the graphic novel and expand who we're reaching and create it one way or another, whether it's through another Kickstarter or something else entirely. Thank you.